My name is Bryant Abbott. I'm a second-year master's student studying clinical mental health counseling. My career path, once I'm graduated, is to focus on wilderness therapy. I've always had an affinity for nature and the outdoors, wilderness, things like that. It's kind of brought me back to my core and my roots. This summer I did have an opportunity to go to Zimbabwe. It does tie back into my interest in kind of what my life purpose is, which is a life of service and giving back to others and showing love to people of all walks of life. There was an instance where we had the opportunity to go to a rural school. The foundation of it was cracked. The walls were cracked. There was holes in the walls. You know, there was no electricity. The only light they had was the natural light coming through open windows that didn't have glass. I never experienced too much of a barrier there, just because like a lot of the times I was helping them and they were just so fascinated with like where I came from, and they were asking me questions like about, you know, the United States and Alabama, and they're, you know, like, where's that at? You know, they're so confused, and a lot of them made fun of my accent because I have a Southern accent. They're way better at soccer than I am. I mean, I played soccer, but like that's what they do on a daily basis. So they're way better at soccer than I was. There was a couple times where I was like, I got kind of winded because I was sprinting the whole time. And these kids, like these little kids were just like so uplifting. They're like, no, come on, we got to keep going. We got to keep running. And like they would put their hand on me and like pat me on the back and be like, let's go. And like for me, I'm like, well, let's go then. I'm fired up. Like let's do this. And that was just cool to see these kids like show that kind of love to a complete stranger that they literally just met like 5 minutes ago. There were two boys, well, actually there were three boys that came out, and I noticed one of them had no shoes at all, and most of them had no shoes. Some of them did, but they were usually donated. But then there was two boys that each had one shoe. One was wearing a shoe on the left foot, one was wearing a shoe on the right foot. The reason that there is only one shoe on each child is because they're both brothers. The older brother was given the pair of shoes, but he didn't want his younger brother to go without having a pair of shoes, so he gave one shoe to his younger brother. If you didn't know where these kids came from necessarily, they always have the biggest smile on their face. They're always, you know, in a really good mood. They're always happy. They're just enjoying life, arguably more than some people like here in the United States. While they might not have some of the necessities in terms of water, food, clothes, perspective, but the one thing that they do have, arguably more than a lot of people over here, is that pure internal love for another, because that's really the one thing that they have to hold on to. Those kids kind of brought me back to that person, those roots that I feel like are necessary to live just a meaningful life of purpose.